Bienvenidos al Instituto Cervantes de Nueva Delhi. Can you hear it? Yes. Right. As I said, please do avail yourself of the earphones because I'm going to speak in Spanish. This is a tradition in our institute. We use our own native tongue. It's our mission. So, como iba diciendo, es un gran placer para nosotros presentar hoy la revista Yapanchitra. Es seguramente la primera revista en la India que dedica una sección permanente a la poesía española y latinoamericana, a cargo de su director. Me gustaría que saludara a Pramal, Kumar, Basu. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Tenemos también a Bottacharya. Y tenemos también con nosotros a J.P. Das. Me gustaría Mangalesh Dabral. Todavía tiene que venir, ha participado con nosotros en otros actos. Pues como iba diciendo, es sin duda alguna la primera revista en la India que dedica una sección permanente a la poesía española y latinoamericana. Y esto es realmente una noticia que vale la pena destacar, porque tenemos realmente presencia constante de literatura en lengua española en la India. Es un poco excepcional, aunque hay publicaciones del gobierno indio como Papeles de la India, y me gustaría señalar la importancia de esas publicaciones, o publicaciones de hispanistas indios como Hispanic Horizons, que mantienen nuestra literatura viva en este gran continente. Bottacharya es el exdirector de la revista Indian Literature, la revista de Sahitya Academia, la Academia Nacional de Letras de la India. Pramal Kumar Basu es el director de Yapanchitra en inglés y un poeta que ha participado en varios festivales internacionales de poesía en distintos países. J.P. Das es poeta y dramaturgo que escribe en la lengua oria del estado de Orissa. Recibió el Premio Nacional de Literatura de la India, la Sahitya Academy Award. Y finalmente, aunque Mangalesh Dabral no está aquí, sí que ha participado con nosotros en otros actos y también ganó el Sahitya Academy Award en el año 2000. No me voy a alargar mucho más, dejaré que nuestros invitados presenten la revista. Simplemente me gustaría quizás hacer un comentario sobre el título de la revista. La revista se llama Yapanchitra y podemos preguntarnos qué significa en español este nombre. He hecho una traducción tentativa del nombre que ha sido más o menos aprobada por Subhro, vamos a decir que es el organizador de estas jornadas de poesía, martes de poesía, y la palabra Yapanchitra se podría traducir como retrato de subsistencia. Yapan expresa el ganarse la vida, el esfuerzo que hace el ser humano para ganarse la vida, para su subsistencia, como dijimos en español. Hay una palabra sánscrita que me gusta mucho para Yapan, que es Sharira Yatra, el viaje del cuerpo, el viaje de todo lo que tenemos que dar a nuestro cuerpo físico para que se mantenga en vida. Eso es Sharira Yatra, y de cierta manera es lo mismo que Yapan, el esfuerzo realmente por mantenernos vivos. Y Chitra es una palabra que en sánscrito quiere decir muchas cosas. Quiere decir retrato, pintura, pero en el sentido de algo maravilloso, en el sentido de algo que está lleno de color. En este caso, retrato de subsistencia, me parece un título realmente muy interesante porque une dos cosas. En primer lugar, siempre pensamos que la poesía es sobre momentos extraordinarios de la vida, pero aquí no. Aquí tenemos una revista que lo que está haciendo un retrato minucioso de nuestra existencia cotidiana, un retrato de nuestra subsistencia, un retrato de todo lo que hacemos para mantener nuestro cuerpo físico, para mantener el peregrinaje de nuestro cuerpo físico en este mundo. Por lo tanto, voy a acabar aquí y pediría un fuerte aplauso para nuestros editores y nuestros invitados de hoy. gustaría ahora, I would like to give the floor to Professor J.P. Das. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Oscar. Mr. Oscar, Mr. Pramal Kumar Basu, Mr. Bandopadhyay, and my good friend, my Odia poet friend, Amarendra Khatua. He is a well-known Odia poet, and I mentioned especially about him because he's going to a Spanish-speaking country as ambassador in a few days' time. So I'm happy to be here this evening with the release of a magazine with which I'm connected in a way from the very beginning of the publication of the magazine in Bangla. The poet, the editor of the Bangla magazine is Bonnali Rai, and of course Prabal is very much connected with that publication, but I'm very happy that today this English, it's not a version of it, but the English issue of Yapanchitra is coming out. In Bangla it's called Yapanchitra, and we call it Yapanchitra here. And in a few years' time, Bangla magazine has become very, very popular in Bengal because it carries very serious articles, serious literary pieces, poetry included. And it's a very happy occasion that the English magazine is being published. I'm sure it will be as popular as the English, the Bangla magazine in Bengal. I hope it will reach the readers all over the country now. And my only suggestion is that I've seen this issue. Perhaps it will have a bigger size and shape in the years to come, and have more content, and will be established itself as a good literary journal in the country. Thank you.
I would like now to release the magazine, right, officially, and perhaps to distribute it among the audience. So please, I would like to ask Subhro Bhattacharya, who is in the room, to come and officially launch the magazine. Distribute one copy among the audience.
Yes, I think they will appreciate very much all the effort being done.
I would like to give the floor now to Nirmal Kanti Bhattacharya, former director of the Indian Literature magazine.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Mr. Kumar Basu and the co-editor of the magazine, Subhro Bandopadhyay, who is standing there in the audience, Dr. J.P. Das, and friends. know Spanish, and I have never written any poem. So in a magazine which is totally devoted to poetry, and that too partly to Spanish poetry, I am not qualified enough really to give a lecture or something. But one may ask then why I agreed to be here. This is because of my appreciation and my affection for both the editors. And I thought any good initiative, any constructive initiative for dialogues between two cultures, dialogues between languages should be encouraged by all of us. And to that effect, I think this tabloid is a very interesting step. And I'm quite taken in by the beautiful way in which the director explained the meaning of the term Yapanchitra. And so meaning actually travels from one language to another seamlessly, despite the gulf of difference between cultures and languages. But one may perhaps observe here that we must be very, very careful about how we plan the magazines and journals. I some time back, some 8-9 months back, I received a copy of Hispanic Horizon, the 25th anniversary issue, the journal of the Center for Spanish, Portuguese, Latin American and Italian of Jawaharlal Nehru University. It is a big fat volume of around 400 pages and brilliantly edited by Professor S.P. Ganguly, Shama Prasad Ganguly. And it contained an amazing array of subjects, essays, beginning from an essay on Mirabai, Ras Lila, Tantric spirituality, to the reception of Tagore in Spain, Octavio Paz in India, and to the influence of India on the Spanish and Catalan literature. And then as a bonus comes a first ever direct translation from Spanish into Bengali of the second part of Don Quixote. So this is a very balanced, in a very balanced way, the entire journal was planned. And I'll give you another example. And here one can find two languages, two countries, two cultures in conversation. And I'll give you another example. Some 5-6 months back, I received a call for paper for a seminar taking place in the University of Córdoba in Spain. I don't know, is Córdoba the correct pronunciation? Okay, in Spain. And this is called, this is also something to do about the two literatures and two languages, India and Spain. And the title, if I remember correctly, was something like Peace, Abode of Peace, Conversation between India and Europe. And to my surprise, I find that there India is represented by two writers who write in English. Let me not name names. Both are my favorite writers, mind you. And I have absolutely nothing against Indian English literature. On the contrary, I believe that Indian English literature has really come of age. And these two writers, one is based in Delhi, another is based abroad. I am an avid reader of both of them, and I am really an admirer of at least one of them. So there is nothing wrong in their being in Córdoba University. But my humble question is, when you call it a conversation between India and Europe, is it enough that India is represented just by two Indian English writers? When we have so many wonderful writers writing in our languages. So when I received that call for paper, I sent a reply which naturally went begging for a response. But one was reminded of 1997, during the golden jubilee of Indian independence, when that famous or infamous book, vintage book of Indian literature came out, 90% of which comprised Indian literature in English. And only 8 to 10% were Indian translations from Indian literatures in other languages. And who were the editors? Salman Rushdie and Elizabeth West. Now the question is, one of my friends wrote in the very tongue-in-cheek way, he wrote in his blog, that it is like assigning the editorship of an anthology of Japanese literature to someone who does not know Japanese. Because here are two editors who do not have access to any Indian language, and they do not really care for finding out the translations also. Here, these are two examples I gave just to tell you that we need such balanced approach. In this magazine, we find a page devoted to Spanish poetry, another page devoted to a particular language poetry of our country, and another page devoted to a kind of mix of various languages of India. I think it is wonderfully planned, and it is a very balanced approach. And such approach is extremely necessary when we talk about conversations between languages, we talk about dialogue between cultures, we talk about dialogue between civilizations. With these words, I would wish many more issues. I am told after summer it will be winter, but then in future we can think of autumn also. There are many, we can go on increasing the number of seasons if the issue or if the magazine engages the attention of the people, of the readers. I have only one small observation on the lighter side. By very definition, a tabloid should have a lot of relief. And I find in this tabloid not much relief is there. I would prefer a little more color. Maybe on the Spanish poetry page, I would prefer some landmarks of Spain. Bengali poetry page, some landmark from Bengal. And I would prefer a little boxes. Tabloids contain a lot of chutneys, droll stories, quaint news from the life of the poets and life of the writers. Who is going out with whom, kind of report also I will not mind. But it must have more relief if it wants to live up to the definition of a tabloid. Otherwise, it is wonderfully produced. I congratulate both the editors, and I wish it a big success. Thank you.
I'm very happy to salute the ambassador from Colombia. He has just arrived, Juan Alfredo Pinto, and his wife, Soraya. Thanks for being here, because this number has a lot to say about Colombia. So we'll give the floor to the ambassador. I would also like to salute the poet, Mangalesh Dabral. He's here with us. I hope he will also take the floor. It was expected, even if you came late.
Too late to be there.
No. I'm going to sit there and you're going to come here, right? And
Comfortable.
So,
What we can offer, as I have already spoken, let Mangalesh come here.
No.
Please.
Come. You look extremely nice there.
That's okay. You will also look nice.
well, no, we'll ask you here. There's no way to escape, right?
Okay. Don't worry that I am not escaping.
But before, I would like to pass the floor to JP Das, to Pramal Basu. He's the director of Yapanchitra, to say it in Bengali, magazine, but he is also a poet who has participated in international poetry festivals and in different countries. So please, Mr. Basu.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Honorable Ambassador from Colombia, Director of the Institute of Cervantes, Nirmalas and Jepida. Yapanchitra is being published from Calcutta in Bengali language since almost last 8 years. In between, about 5 years back, we published an English issue on international poetry covering various international languages like Japan, and few other countries also. Now, when in Delhi I met Subhro, then we thought, why not we continue our endeavor to bridge the gap between various languages, especially to take the Indian languages into the international arena, as well as bring some of the international languages to the Indian audience. We have planned this particular tabloid in a way that we will be covering one international language, we'll be covering one Indian language, and then there will be a page devoted to the Indian poetry, covering various languages. This is the beginning. This is we have lots of limitations. This is the beginning, but we feel that it has to start somewhere. So it's starting maybe whatever the shortcomings are there, which Hanuman has just pointed out. In the next issue, we should be able to cover it up. We look forward to all your advices, suggestions. There is an address, mail ID given in this tabloid. We'll be happy to receive communications from you. I also thank Yogi Books, Mr. Bikash Yogi, who has very kindly consented to sponsor these issues. Not only this issue, I mean this entire endeavor. And I am also thankful to the Institute of Cervantes for giving us an opportunity to bring out the first issue here. Thanks everybody.
So, I will ask now to the table the Ambassador, Juan Alfredo Pinto. And also the poet, Mangalesh Dabral, to come and join us. Juan Alfredo Pinto doesn't need any introduction in this house. He's part of us. He's been part of the Cervantes right even before this building was ever finished. He's been collaborating with us in so many activities. So I'm really very happy to have him here, to have taken time out of his busy agenda to be here with us. And there is a particular reason to it. If you open the tabloid, as it is said in the second page, you will see that in the section International Poetry, Colombia figures prominently. And I will stop here and ask the Ambassador to give a few comments about the presence of Colombia in this tabloid. So, Ambassador.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you, Yapanchitra, and my best wishes. I have been many times in my life in the presentation of the first issue of different kinds of magazines. Even one politician of Colombia used to say that the home minister that is the responsible of the licenses in general of the new publications in Colombia is full of issues number one of different kinds of publications, because the characteristic is in developing countries is that there are many publications that cannot overpass the issue number one. Talking about poetry, the risk is very high. You know? It's as high as the daring, the deep thinking and persuasion and interior security about the pertinency of an idea. So I have to congratulate the leaders of the Yapanchitra for this decision. You are very courageous people and passionate by art, by literature, and particularly by poetry. One day Gabriel Garcia Marquez, in an interview, said, the journalist asked to him, what about the life for you? What is the meaning of? And Gabriel Garcia Marquez answered that, replied that if we have to find for a testimony of the life, of the precious life, of the sense of living, poetry is the first one that you can find in all the wide spectrum of the arts, the history, and so on. The poetry is the more subtle and more deep exercise of the human intelligence. It's not in the full art, there is not a chapter as precious, as delicate, and as challenging the intelligence and the sensitive of the human being as the poetry. I am absolutely impressed that Yapanchitra not only is a very daring group to materialize this project, and also made a choice in favor of the Colombian poetry. I am very satisfied, very impressed, but without modest, allow me to say that it's not totally surprised to me, because people used to say, and it's true, that Colombia is a country of poets. French people that used to be friends of special kinds of statistics has done a work about, and the outcome was that in fact it's the country, at least in the Americas, the full continent of America, is the country that has the highest percentage of people that have been president of Colombia and also are poets. So somebody could say that this is because of our underdeveloped process, maybe, but it's probably be true, but also it's true that it is the cause of our country can show a production plenty of expressions of art, and it's a powerful nation in culture. These names that you have, read by Aurelio Arturo, for example, that is not only extraordinary poet, is a witness of the 20th century, very, very, very interesting. Poet of the history. It's very difficult to create poetry on the basis of the history. relatively easy to work in the novel or in the current text, but in poetry is a big exigency and very hard work. Already Arturo is an excellent example, as Giovanni said too, but particularly I would like to mention Juan Roca. Juan Roca is alive and is an extraordinary poet of Colombia, and I have plenty stories about. Many years before that I got married with Soraya, my wife, I was in competition with Juan Roca by one lady, beautiful. But he defended me because probably I have written some paragraphs to her, but he has written beautiful poems, and I have not the talent to compete that way. He's an extraordinary poet, Juan Roca. And you finish the series, this opportunity, with an extraordinary and very important poet as Lady Piedad Bonet. And I recommend very much this poem to the students. That is a very beautiful expressions. So I don't want to take your time. I am so happy to participate in this meeting today. I want to repeat my congratulations to the organizers. I hope to be one of the ambassadors that can feed and help the publications to be well known in my country, in my Colombian citizens community. And as a writer, as an ambassador, you can be sure that if you need to mention one friend of your publication, you are 100% authorized to mention my name. And as according to the leitmotif of this meeting, I will read just 2 short poems that written by whom I consider the most important young poet of Colombia, that is the writer Fernando Denis, and has written a precious book with the title of the Geometry of Water. Just 2 short poems to you. First one is the poem with the title The Lady of Salt. The flower of the fish darkens. In the water clock, the hollow light sleeps, moving its ice needles. The sword is dissolved, and her name transformed into a wave. It's already also angry eyes under the moon of water. And while the sea needs its museum, its collection of dawns and of nights, the Lady of Salt stands weightless and remains motionless near the unfathomable abyss with its legend. I am the sea, and water comes and goes with my memories. The second one is a poem that the title is Can Art Be Invisible? What night showed you at dawn, Tristan and Isolde? Already the sacred myths conspiring in the dream of the world announce you. Invulnerable time left its clepsydra to the stars, and the gold will shine all night to warp one street and another, whose duration is my fear and my hope, while hours change like the sea, and the verse grows that should accompany you to the end. we both will curve in the instant, in the colors of the instant, the form which will evoke our destiny under the algebra of God. And solitude will be more virtuous when I say your name, and time will dream it has already seen you, that you are the same and this immense embrace.
Gracias. Gracias, embajador, por esta magnífica lectura. Before continuing and giving the floor to Mangalesh Dabral and have some more poetry in our ears, I would like just to make one comment out of what you said. I mean, he says something very beautiful, that poetry is really, one of the most human of endeavors, and it's a homage to human intelligence, poetry. But I don't know if you ever thought, what is the essence of poetry? It's a difficult question. I'm not going to solve it now, but just a small reflection that comes right out of the Indian tradition. The Indian tradition, the Sanskrit tradition, thought very much about this problem. What is the difference? What differentiates the language of poetry from the language of other kinds of human activities, right? And they found this interesting definition, right? They said, all the language has two components, shabda and artha, which in English will be shabda, the word, and artha, the meaning. Word and meaning go together, signifier and significant. We know that from modern linguistics. So the ancient Indian authors, they thought that there was some kind of language where shabda was more important than artha, where words were more important than meanings. And this language for them was the language of the Vedas. In the language of the Vedas, the important thing is to recite perfectly, even if the meaning is not absolutely clear, but the power of the Vedas lies in the sound, in the mantra, even at the sacrifice of artha. Then they thought that there are other kind of languages where artha, meaning, is more important than shabda, than the word. And this is, say, philosophy, for instance, or say, if I make a report, and so there the meaning, what really, the words are not so important, but what I am saying, it is really important. I can say in different ways, right? Now, they came to this conclusion, that poetry was the only kind of human language where shabda and artha were going together, completely together. There was a perfect fusion of the word and the meaning. And this is a very interesting thing, because modern literary theory has come also to this point in the West. And they use a metaphor which was very beautiful. Poetry is like shaya. Shaya means a bed. And they say the perfect adaptation of the body to the bed, this is poetry, right? Where shabda and artha are completely fused into one. The sound is not more important than the meaning in poetry. Both are equally essential. And that's why today in Hindi, literature is called sahitya. Did you ever think about this word? Sahitya comes from sahit, together. And sahitya, again, literature, means the perfect combination of meaning and sound. And I think that's what really poetry is all about. Not giving more importance to one aspect or to the other. And I think I wanted just to share this interesting reflection which comes out of Indian literature from very, very ancient times. And now I would like to give the floor to Mangalesh Dabral. As I said, he has published numerous poetry books, and he's also a person who has been here with us so many times. So please, Mangalesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Pramal, and His Excellency, the Ambassador of Colombia, my friends here, J.P. Gandhi, General Gandhi, Pramal, Basu, and Subhro and others also. So, I'm very fortunate to be here today at the release of Yapanchitra. It's a very novel idea, I think, and I think only Bengalis could produce such the magazine in such a size and there's 2 pages. So Bengal has a big tradition of little magazines. So in the real sense of these words, little magazine means the magazine which is produced by one's pocket money and not with the help of ads and advertisements and outer help. So it's been nice, and I'm more happy, more so because it includes one of my poems also. About Colombia, I think we always know Colombia for football and then for Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And Marquez is very, very popular in my language. His 100 Years of Solitude has been translated into Hindi. And there's so many of his stories, and even I think someone has attempted The Autumn of the Patriarch, which is very, very difficult. So Marquez, long ago, some time back, I read one of long interviews of Marquez, The Fragrance of Guava. So in which he said that he could explain the entire Latin America through the fragrance of guava, the fruit. I think it was a very profound poetic statement. Then in 2008, I went to attend a poetry festival in Rotterdam, in Netherlands, where Juan Manuel Roca was supposed to be participating, but he could not come. So I have read some of his poems. So that is my only knowledge about Colombia. But as he has recited, he has, I think His Excellency has given a very good introduction to the Colombian poetry, and by reciting two excellent poems. So this idea is, I think, unique in the sense that there is accent on one international language, poetry from one international language, and then one from home, and then we have, I think, 25 or 24 languages, and then choose from all those languages is a very difficult task. So it's good that it focuses upon one language from India, and then other miscellaneous poems. So, as Nirmal Kantiji had rightly said, that it would have been better if it had some illustrations, some cultural background of the language, of the country, of that country and their language. So I think in the next issues, I think just 4 pages, it gives a lot of poetry, a lot of material to read. It is, I think, another good thing about it. So that is all I have to say about this issue. I will go through it, and I think after that I will be able to say something. About poetry, I think Dr. Pujol has rightly said the old definition of the classical definition of poetry. Then there is, Kalidas says that Vak Artho Samprikto Kavya. In Kumar Samava he starts Vagartho Pratipate Jagata Pitro Vande Parvati Parveshwaro. And then there is a Buddhist grammatology which say, particularly Nagarjuna, which says that Kavyartho Vichhinno Kavyam. I think the postmodernists have taken a lot of things from the Buddhist the grammarians, and this Shabdartho Vichhinno, the gap between the word and the meaning, the tension between the word and the meaning produced with poetry. So Yeah, I think postmodernists have taken a lot of
Reflecting the disconnect, what he's saying.
yeah, the disconnect from. So, thank you very much.
लेकिन एक बात अपेक्षित है आपसे ना, हम चाहते हैं कि अब तो कविता को उच्चारण कीजिएगा एक बार।
कविता तो मेरे पास
यहाँ नो
अच्छा किसी में से। This is an English translation. My photograph. This is a picture where a little courage can be traced and poverty be seen, all wrapped up. Taken in light, this photograph hides its darkness behind it. The calm of this face is a mask for restlessness. Any compassion is forever mixed with malice, and a little pride is soaked in much shame. Although one's time to fight quietly passes one by, there is yearning in it to return from war, and these are the eyes which tell you how love on which all things rest is becoming less every minute. In self-love and yet fooling around, I get many pictures clicked in a stupid sort of hope that a better one might come by one of these days.
I would like to request
Life. The present part is, birds do not sing the national song. Rivers do not flow on the straight lines of maps. For the farmer in the field, there is no holiday on the 15th of August. The man fighting with life forgets the tune of Vande Mataram.
I would like to request Pramal Kumar Basuji.
By my side, with deep uncertainty and immense possibilities, a criminal champions another criminal. Almost unconsciously, an honest man will always befriend another genuine person. Waiting for the touch of a fire, a dead body lies beside another never known one, like a close relative at a crematorium. A tout stands beside another. At bus stops, waiting for a same route bus, have seen many people standing together, bracing for the fate. I have realized there is actually no one by your side unless someone comes and holds your hand tightly.
Now we'd like to request Subhro Bandopadhyay.
An italic poem. This poem was written for a friend of mine who used to, well, she still works in a sex shop in Madrid. We used to share a shared flat in Madrid. And this is for her, Jenica, an italic poem. I did not ask which country. As the conversation elongates, I get a sense of arteries bruises. It hurts you to see any road, any cloth or paper turn red. As pigeons push through soft October in the park, I can see in the breeze black patches. In the seat of your eyes, attuned to unsleeping. Our riverine mother ghost. Characters from the book have turned into statues that this still rain wets. A secret journal tells me that as the silhouette of nakedness wets a wing pulsed by touch, salty and ashen air. Stepping out of the house, to see the hackneyed foam-wrapped stoves float continuous two-way traffic into the root cellar. I return, a side-turn flight touches huckling boobs, fluorescence from the sex shop angling across the window, a bird made from plain knife on the bedside table. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, amigos. Creo que ha sido una velada muy interesante con la presentación de este retrato de subsistencia, la revista de poesía. Thanks very much then, and we conclude here this session.